We are live. What's up, my friends? Abby here. Welcome to another Write With Me live stream. I'm so glad you guys are here with me today to write and be creative. First things first, tell me if you can see me and hear me okay. Type in the chat. Tell me where you're tuning in from and if everything's working. Mic, camera, action, everything is going according to plan. Let me know in the chat and tell me what you're working on. I would love to hear about your work in progress. A lot of you are already in the chat and showed up before I did and have been hanging out and chatting with each other. So welcome. And if this is your first Write With Me live stream, I'm so glad you could finally make it. And this is the way they are structured. So we're going to do 3 writing sprints total. 25 minutes on with 5-minute breaks in between to chat about our books. I'm going to answer some questions from the chat. And it's basically just a really super chill hangout session where we can all get together, be creative, write our stories or edit our stories or do anything that is the creative work of being a writer together as a community. So it's really fun. I hope you're going to enjoy it. I think you will. And if this is not your first time and you've been here for a while, tell me in the chat. A lot of you guys show up with me every single week, or not every week, but every month to do these Write With Me live streams. And I'm just so, so grateful to have your support here. Okay, I see writers tuning in from all over the world. Awesome. I see Maryland, Brazil, South Africa, Utah, North Dakota. Awesome. UK, Sweden, Norway. Sweet. Amazing. I'm so glad you guys are all here. And also, if you are part of the Discord community, we're going to be doing sprints in there simultaneously. So you'll see my timer here with the 25-minute clock counting down. But you can also join in Discord if you are over there. I'm going to go ahead and start a sprint over there to begin in a minute. If you're not in the Discord, you can join by joining my Patreon at any level, and the link to that is below this live stream. So if you like this community aspect of chatting with other writers and having the accountability of writing partners and critique partners and getting to just share your ideas and your progress and celebrate your wins with other writers, you would definitely really love the Discord community. It's a vibrant, beautiful community of so many writers from all over the world, and I think you'd love it. So check it out with the link below this video when you join my Patreon at any level. Otherwise, stick around because we're going to be sharing our updates and progress and questions and answers here on this live stream. So set your timers or go by my timer. I'm going to also set an alarm. Don't worry, it won't be super loud, but it will ring after our first 25 minutes, our first sprint. And then I will answer some questions from the chat. Until then, it is time to write. So if you guys are ready, I am ready. I'm going to be writing my current fiction project, and the sprint has already begun in Discord, so I'm going to be quiet now. I'm going to set my timer, wish you luck, and we are going to talk again in 25 minutes. So good luck, everyone. Okay, sprint number 1 is done. Tell me how it went in the chat. Hopefully that was a productive first sprint for you guys. It was for me. I wrote 668 words that time. Okay, so feel free to share your word count in the chat or in the Discord or both. And we're going to take a quick break here. And I'll answer a few questions from the chat, and then we'll get into our next sprint. So looks like you guys had a productive 25 minutes just then. Awesome. Fantastic. Great job, everybody. You're doing amazing, and keep up the good work. We are all here for each other, to cheer each other on in our creative pursuits. Let's see. Aurora Rose asked, I'm doing round 3 of edits. What do you do to keep motivated and not fall behind or get bored? Very good question. What I do when I'm editing a book to not fall behind or get bored is I like to first set a tentative deadline for myself, even if it's not like you absolutely have to finish this. I kind of just frame it up in my mind of like, I want this done by a certain date. And setting a deadline always helps me to stay on track, especially if I can break down my edits or my progress on any goal, really, even if it's writing a first draft. If I can break it down into manageable steps that will bring me to my deadline on time. So let's say you have 30 chapters in your book and you want to edit 1 chapter per day, you could have it done in a month. So if you just find a sort of a system that works for you, of like, okay, I know if I follow this formula, I will meet my deadline, and then setting a deadline can be very, very helpful, especially in the editing process, because it's still creative, but it's less, you're not really waiting on inspiration so much as you are with the first draft. So that always helps me, is to set a deadline and then break it down into smaller goals. Let's see. Andrew asked, do you have advice for how to write short stories and or flash fiction the right way? What details should I focus on? Also, how to write an anthology of short stories. So yeah, short stories are very interesting, great way to practice your writing and to just, get better as a writer and improve your skill. I have a whole video on writing short stories that I recommend checking out on my channel. So go to my channel after this and type in on the search tool short stories, and that video will come up right away. And in that video, I kind of talk about how there's no right or wrong way to write a short story, because they're all very different from each other. And as for writing an anthology, I would say just keep writing short stories, keep writing what you love, and then find sort of a similarity between your short stories, whether they're all about the same characters or maybe exploring the same theme from different angles, or all taking place in the same fictional universe. Whatever the case may be that brings them all together and relates them all to each other, you're trying to look for some central theme with an anthology. You don't want it to just be random. You want it to feel like it has a good sense of symmetry. So I would say just keep writing short stories, keep writing what you love, and that sense of symmetry will kind of reveal itself eventually. Let's see, PH gave a super chat. Thank you so much. Agree or disagree? If you can't write anything, force yourself to write and then edit it later. Love the glasses, by the way. Thanks. Yes, I do agree with that. If you can't write anything and you're like, oh, I can't write, I don't feel like writing. If you push yourself past that little feeling of discomfort, that flinch of like, I don't want to write today, I feel like I don't have any inspiration. If you just push yourself past that moment of discomfort, you might be surprised by how the inspiration just comes. It will come. And if it doesn't, you can always edit later. Like you said, you can rewrite anything to be good. I always like to say you don't have to be a good writer, you just have to be a good rewriter, because that's most of what we do, right? As writers, most of what we do is rewriting. We are taking the first draft and turning it into something worth reading. So yeah, I think that sometimes when you're burnt out, you definitely need a break, but other times it's just that flinch of discomfort and intimidation, and you're just talking yourself out of it. Just do it and push through the discomfort, and you'll be glad you did. You will never regret writing something. Okay, you'll regret not writing something. You'll never look at something you wrote and be like, oh, I really wish I didn't write that. Like, you can always fix it. You can always make it better. Let's see. B. Reynolds asks, I'm a new young writer and was wondering if you have any tips for how to brainstorm more efficiently. Very good question. I think that the brainstorming process is very unique to everybody. Obviously, every writer is going to brainstorm differently. For me, what has helped me a lot with brainstorming is consuming a lot of stories that I really love, that inspire me, that feel like home and comfort to me, because these are the kinds of stories that I want my stories to feel like. So it doesn't have to be like drawing specific ideas from these stories, but just exposing yourself to more stories that you feel are well written, that have a good vibe, that vibe with you, and are in the genre that you're interested in, will help to sort of immerse you in that space, that energy of the kind of story that you want to write. Also, just talking yourself through your ideas. Talking to yourself is very underrated. I think that talking to yourself really helps to smooth out ideas and make sort of the mental chaos turn it into order. And that has helped me a lot as a writer. Whenever I'm like, I have like bits and pieces of ideas, but I don't really know how they all come together. If I just start talking to myself, usually if I go on a walk, I will just be muttering to myself the whole time about like how all these ideas fit together. Also, if you have like no ideas and you're not sure where to start at all, I would recommend checking out my story smoothie method video, which is on my YouTube channel. If you go to my channel and scroll down to the first playlist, it's the first video in that playlist that's called Need a Story Idea, Try This. And that method will help you to sort of pull bits and pieces of inspiration from your favorite stories that you're the most passionate about and create something completely new out of them. It's a very cool technique that has helped a lot of writers. So definitely check that out. Okay, I'm going to reset my timer here and restart a new sprint in the Discord. We're going to get into our second sprint here. So I'm going to answer some more questions on the next break. But for now, let's reset our timers and get back into our books. I'm going to join sprint again with the same word count and get back into writing this scene. Okay, good luck, guys. Let's go. 2 is done. That one flew by so quickly. Tell me how it went in the chat. Hopefully you guys had a good productive sprint. Let's see. I'm up to 1,218 words, which is 550 for this one. Sweet. Awesome. You guys are making amazing progress. You should be super happy with yourselves. Super proud of yourselves. Let's see, a super chat just came in from King News. Said, hi, Abby. I want to write my book, but my college and work drain me. When I do have time, I just can't get into the right headspace. Any advice? Very good question, and a very common struggle that a lot of writers face when juggling work and school as well as writing. And getting into the right headspace is honestly like 70% of it. So I can understand totally where you're coming from. For me, juggling work and other obligations with writing can be difficult, but getting into the right headspace happens long before you sit down to write. So for me, I try to get in the right headspace with every other thing that I can possibly do outside of work. So if that is what I am reading, if I'm reading any books, or if I'm watching TV or watching any movies, like immersing myself in the vibe and the setting, the genre of what I'm writing, even when I'm not writing. And then any time that you have in between tasks, whether you're going for a walk or taking your dog for a walk or making food or cleaning the house or getting ready, all of those things that you can, all those little gaps of time where you can be thinking about your book, try to take the opportunity there to immerse yourself in the headspace of your book. So even if that means talking yourself through the next scene that you want to write, or just thinking about your characters and their conflicts, this can really help to immerse you in the headspace of your book before you go and sit down to write. And this is something that I do a lot when I'm trying to sleep at night. And it actually helps me to sleep a lot of times, to sort of like go into that headspace mentally and to flip that switch. And the more you immerse yourself in that headspace when you're not writing, the easier it will be to flip that switch when you actually sit down to write. I know it's a little bit of like unconventional advice, but hopefully that helps. I know that it's helped me a lot. And of course, just making sure that you're carving out the time to respect your craft and make progress, even if it's just a little bit of progress. It all comes together and it all matters. Let's see, Writer gave another super chat. Thank you so much. Hello, Abby. I'm a big fan of your work. I'm writing a book with several points of view, and I was wondering how to manage that and separate the different voices. Very good question. So character voice is a big thing with writing multiple points of view. It's really amazing if you can write character voice so distinctly that you almost don't need those chapter headings and the point of view headers to indicate whose point of view it is. But of course, that comes with a lot of time and practice. For me, what has helped me to differentiate character voice is to kind of adopt a certain writing style or speaking style for that character that is very unique to them. Even if that means you have to make like a style sheet for yourself on this character and how they talk. So maybe there's certain words that they use, certain metaphors, things that reflect who they are, their personality. Try to ask yourself, like, if this character were to think the way they talk, and if they talk in a really distinctive way, then how can we infuse their speaking style into their thinking style, into their thought process and their narrative? And that's really what makes character voice feel different and makes those characters feel separate from each other, is that they think differently, because we all think differently. We all think in different vocabulary because we all have different vocabularies. So thinking about just making a style sheet basically for each character, and it can be really simple, just like a short bullet point list of this character speaks in this style, uses these metaphors, their background is in this, so they use analogies relating to a hobby or a occupation that they have, and maybe there's certain phrases or exclamations or terms of endearment that only they use. So keeping those things distinctive to those individual characters can help so much with that. But I have a whole video on my channel on character voice that you should check out. I also have a live training that I did that's like a 2-part live training on writing prose. And in that training, we talk about character voice and go deeper into writing distinct character voice. So that is worth a watch too. And you can get access to the training when you join my Patreon, which is linked below. So definitely check that out if you want to dive deeper into character voice. Shaylon also gave a super chat. Thank you so much. Hope everyone stays safe from the weather. Yes. Let's see if there was any more. I don't think I saw any more super chats, but I'll answer another question here before we go to our next sprint. Let's see. Molly asked, how do you insert character flashbacks in a way that feels natural and doesn't interrupt the flow of the story? Very good question. I actually have a whole live training on flashbacks as well, and a video on the do's and don'ts of writing flashbacks. So definitely check that out on my channel. Basically, the flashback mistakes you want to avoid is what it's called. So when you're writing flashbacks, you want them to feel natural and seamless. There are 2 things that you need, a trigger and an impact. So you need a reason why we're going into the flashback. We need to see, okay, why are we looking at this right now? That's very important. And then an impact on the story going forward. So as we come out of the flashback, we have a new perspective on the story going forward. It has somehow changed the way that we're going to see the next events that unfold. So if you have those 2 things, you have the clear trigger that's making the flashback happen, and then the impact it has on the story going forward, then your flashback is going to feel so much smoother. It's going to feel like it belongs, it has a purpose, it matters. And also we're going to have that same flow of cause and effect like we do with any other linear timeline of the current day events. So that's the thing that can make flashbacks sometimes feel clunky and strange, is when it hits pause on the story for too long and goes into a flashback, and then we don't even know why. We just had to see that because we don't really know why it pertains to what's happening now. So if you don't want to interrupt that flow of cause and effect, let there be a cause and let there be an effect. Let there be a trigger and an impact. And that is going to help you so much to make those flashbacks feel seamless. Okay, I'm talking for 8 minutes, not 5. Let's get into our 3rd and final writing sprint. So reset your timers. I'm going to go ahead and set up another sprint in the Discord. Amazing work, all my Discord family as well. Go ahead and join over there if you are over there. If not, stay here on the live stream. We're going to go for another 25 minutes. If you are up for it, stick around. If you have to hop off, I understand. But let's try to get in one more writing sprint for our writing session here. So I'm setting my timer for 25 minutes, and I think the Discord sprint is rolling, and let's go. Good luck, everyone. Great job, guys. We've reached the third and final sprint. Awesome work. You should be super proud of yourself for staying to the end and doing this whole writing session with me. Even if you didn't get a ton of words down, it still counts. It still matters. Showing up for yourself is the most important thing. So go ahead and share your word count if you desire. I'm going to go ahead and share mine in the Discord, which is 1,580 is my final count, which was a good session for me. Hopefully you guys had a good session overall as well. Let's see. Yes, so many words being written. Awesome. Amazing. So proud of you guys for sticking with it. A couple super chats came in that I will grab before ending this session here. First one's from Richard. My book may be too dialogue heavy. How do I cut back on the dialogue without making the book too short? It's in first person. Good question. I would say just go through your dialogue and edit through the conversations that are happening between your characters and look for any redundancies in dialogue or any back and forth that can maybe be pared down or anything that's repeat information. So a lot of times it's interesting with dialogue. You can forego any repeat information, which will cut out a lot of dialogue by beginning a scene in a conversation after one character has already delivered information that we already know to another character. So this is something I've seen in a lot of TV shows I watch, and I find it very interesting editing technique, storytelling technique, because you really don't need to hear a character retelling piece of information that we already know to another character. So anytime that you can cut that out at the beginning or end of a scene, that will help to pare down the dialogue. But yeah, ultimately just kind of exercise your own judgment there and get opinions from beta readers as well. And another super chat came in from Mohammed. Hi, Abby. I started my writing journey back in August. I don't use inner thoughts in my story, only dialogue and body language. Is it wrong? Definitely not wrong. Every writer's style is different, and sometimes the dialogue and body language can stand alone much more powerfully without constantly being interrupted by narrative and internal thoughts. Of course, there is a time and place for internal narrative, so maybe look at your story and see if there's opportunities where you can insert that and it enhances the narrative. But if it doesn't, and you're like, no, I like how it reads, it kind of reads like a screenplay and it's very visual. And if you're still conveying all the same depth of emotion and conflict, then maybe you don't need that narrative internal dialogue so much. Every writer's style is different. So I would say go with what you think sounds good and what you personally like to read. And if your beta reader is telling you that this is really good and you have some good juicy internal conflict that's being shown through the dialogue and body language, then maybe you don't need any of that internal dialogue anyway. So yeah, just kind of base it off of how you feel about it and what you personally like to read and write. Hopefully that helps. Thank you all so much for the super chats. I really appreciate the support of my channel, and I appreciate you being here and writing with me. So thank you for joining me today for this Write With Me session. Again, if you guys enjoy this community aspect of chatting with other writers and doing sprints together and keeping ourselves held accountable in our writing goals, you would love the Discord community, and you can get access to that by joining my Patreon at any level. The link is below this live stream, so check that out. I think you'd love it over there. There's lots of amazing writers over there and such a vibrant community of amazing creatives. So I hope to see you over there. And of course, we do these live streams every single month on my channel, so make sure you're subscribed, smash the like button, leave a comment below, tell me how much progress you made today on this live stream, and I will see you in the next one. Thank you guys again so much, and as always, happy writing and rock on.